I used to feel terrible about the thought of somebody hating me. It used to really disturb me on a deep level if it seemed like there was someone that hated me, or maybe a group of people that hated me, or if there was someone that was angry with me because I didn't do what they wanted me to do, or for mistakes that they thought I had made, or if I stepped out of their power and control games. There's a plane overhead. I'll take that as a confirmation from God about what I'm saying. And the title of this video, or the subject of this video today, is about let other people hate you. Because I've discovered that hate, while it may seem powerful, I know that anything that is projected, that seems to be projected towards me, is something I can learn from, because what I've discovered is that part of my assignment here on earth is to learn the lessons that God would have me learn. In fact, that's one of the lessons in A Course in Miracles. I study miracles. I am a practitioner of miracles through God, through the Holy Spirit. And I've discovered that the miracle really starts with what I'm thinking and how I'm thinking. And when I first realized that I have allowed my mind to turn away from God, that's what the ego is. That's what the ego mind is what seems like a force, an entity, whatever you want to call it, that has turned away from the love of God. And the Course teaches that God is the love of God is the only real thing. The identity that we have as children of God is the only thing that's real. And everything else is a nightmare. Doesn't that make sense? That if you can think about your life and perhaps some of the nightmarish things you've experienced, it's not to minimize what you may have gone through. It's not to spiritually bypass it and act like, oh, well, I'm spiritual now and nothing happened. No, these things have to be faced. These experiences, these emotions have to be faced. But for me, when I realized that these people showing me, it seemed to have shown me hatred or jealousy or anger, were a reflection of my belief in those things as being real. And that's not to blame me. And that's not to hold those behaviors and those individuals accountable, because they have the same choice too. They can choose also to see things differently. They can also choose to turn their minds back towards God. But when I say that those things are a reflection, that's not to blame me. That calls for forgiveness, which for the teachings of A Course in Miracles, forgiveness is much more than pretending like something bad didn't happen, or saying something like, oh, I have to forgive because of God. In fact, a previous video I did recently is about that, and I'll put a link to that in the description section. But for me, when I realized the expanded view of forgiveness, which is, hey, none of the things that seemed to be thrown at me in my life were of God. Anything that was not of love that seemed to happen were not of God. And in the actuality, I can not only pray for those situations or for those people, they were showing me something about myself that I needed, about not my true self, but they were showing me something about my beliefs that were not true. And for that, I have to thank them. Now, that doesn't mean that these people are entitled to come back in your life, or these people are entitled to continue tyrannizing you, but you can learn to see them differently. And you could recognize their calls for love. You can recognize your own calls for love that you've had in your life, which can be translated into any mistakes you may have made, anything that you may have done that maybe you're not, you don't feel great about. But those things, those experiences I've discovered are valuable, because God needed for me to move through those things, as unpleasant as many of all of the, I'll say this, all the things that I went through that were not of God were, of course, very unpleasant. But it led me on a path to discover who I really am today. So getting back to this idea of haters, they really don't hate you. They hate what you might represent to them, particularly if you're moving towards God and you have invested in having a deep relationship with God, a deep, authentic relationship with God, which means you're doing the work, you've done the work, you continue to do the work that is required to be on an actual spiritual journey, which is not easy. That's why most people don't want to do it. Most of the brothers and sisters would rather be distracted by the world. I'm not saying that that's evil. I get it, I understand, and for many years I was distracted by the world. But there comes a point where, at least for me, that I felt such a strong calling for God, I couldn't deny it anymore. And that meant I had to face things that I didn't want to face, but I did. And I continue to do that. And I've learned to realize that those who seem to hate me, or may even seem to hate me now, it's really not me. It's what I seem to represent. And I know that they will have to face their feelings. I also understand that continuing to put out hateful energy gets reflected back to the self. Not that I want anything bad to happen to anyone, but I know that I'm divinely protected, and I will continue to pray for those who may have hatred in their heart, and also pray for the moments that I have felt hatred. I'm not going to lie and say that I've never felt that. I have, and sometimes I do. That just means that I'm being authentic, that I understand the human experience. So don't be upset if somebody hates you. Don't be upset if you have haters. You know that line, don't be hating. Well, you know what? Let them hate. Because it's only on an individual level, it's only they will have to grapple with that energy. And you can recognize it, see for what it is. It's a call for love. That doesn't mean be a doormat. Do what God tells you to do in those situations. But we know that when we're doing our work, we're facing it and seeing the truth behind anyone who might hate you or any of that kind of stuff. We do our work with the help of God, with the help of the Holy Spirit, with the help of Jesus. We know that God, that will all be handled, that we don't have to respond in a hateful way. In fact, silence is very powerful, because once you decide to walk 11:11, as I just said that on the video, once you fully commit to your relationship with God, to following God's call, that's it. There's no going back, and nothing can harm you. Nothing real can be threatened, and nothing unreal exists. Herein lies the peace of God. That is a direct quote from A Course in Miracles. And if you want to quote the Bible, no weapon formed against me shall prosper. So let us remember, brothers and sisters, it's okay if somebody be hating. Let them. Work through whatever you need to work through, but don't let that stop you from being who you are. Don't allow it to pull you into any guilt from the past. And I also would say that anyone who thinks they're hating you or hate you or whatever, something you may have done, or trying to drag you back to the past, are they perfect? Let's go to the Bible. What did Jesus say about the woman that was discovered committing adultery? What did he say to her accusers? Let anyone who is never committed these things themselves cast the first stone. And I'm paraphrasing, of course, but it's always others have the same, your brothers and sisters have done the same things. They have been imperfect, and it's a projection. But really, we ultimately want to go back to the mind. Always going back to the mind. What is it in my mind that has led me to see things in this way? Once you start doing that kind of work, then you're on a real healing journey with God. And allow others to be exactly as they are, because all things work together for good. And pray for those. Pray for them. Pray for them. Pray for them. And remember who you really are.